If I woke up tomorrow needing to lose 10 kilos fast and keep it off, this is exactly what I would do in 2026. And I'm not guessing, I have lost over 15 kilos using this exact framework and kept it off long term, without calorie counting, crash dieting, or living at the gym. So for years, I tried to eat less, move more. I worked with fitness coaches. I hit the gym 6 days a week, and I copied naturally lean influencers who probably never had issues with their weight to begin with. None of these worked until I understood this one key thing. We're gonna change this completely and change it to fix insulin and burn fat. What most women aren't told is that when insulin is high, fat loss is slow or completely stalled, no matter how disciplined you are with your eat less, move more diet. At its core, this is a metabolic issue and it requires a metabolic method to fix it. Plug for my own brand. I want to introduce you to the 10 kilogram framework. So if your goal is to lose 10 kilos fast and maintain it, this is the exact framework that I would follow every single time. So let's kick this off with the first part of the framework. This is going to be your movement strategy. Okay, so you know what doesn't work is spending half an hour running on a treadmill, burning 200 calories, and then eating a protein bar that's 300 calories because you're starving. We got to remember that 1 hour of cardio can leave you feeling starving. And I'll be honest, being hungry does not make being in a deficit easier. But instead, here's what actually worked, and it's so much simpler than you might think. So firstly, we're going to do a daily step goal. This is not in your hour of cardio. You're not running either. This is just your steps. This is moving throughout the day. This is walking after your meals, pacing maybe during phone calls, taking the stairs, adding 30 minutes to the end of your gym session. This is called NEAT. So this is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is just a scientific term for just move your body more normally. Studies have shown that people who walk 10 minutes after meals have lower blood sugar by about 20 to 25% compared to just sitting. And I recently tested this out myself. I have a glucose monitor on, and I did a whole video about glucose hacks that actually work. And spoiler, I actually put walking and exercise right at the top of my list because of the impact that it made on my glucose. And it was consistent, impactful, and immediate. So this means less time for, insulin and glucose to come back down again and more time in fat burning, which is what you want. Next up, we want 2 to 3 resistance training sessions a week. Now, this doesn't have to be absolutely killing it in the gym, but you need to be lifting as heavy as you can without hurting yourself. So here's why this matters. When you are losing weight, your body doesn't know the difference between fat and muscle. It just knows it needs energy. And if you don't give it a reason to keep your muscle, then unfortunately, when you diet down, you run the risk of burning muscle and fat. Resistance training is the signal that says to your body, hey body, like we're using this muscle, please keep it. You just need 30 to 45 minutes, 2 to 3 times per week for this. Focus on compound movements. So these are your squats, your deadlifts, your push-ups, your rows. And those compound movements are going to work those multiple muscle groups. So which means your body has to work harder, burn more calories, and preserve more muscle. I personally started with 3 full body workouts per week. I used to do 2 gym floor and 1 Pilates. Now I'm in my muscle building phase. So I'm doing 5 days a week with 4 of them being the gym floor with an upper lower split and 1 day of Pilates. And there's a bonus. If you're eating enough protein, which we'll talk about in a second, you can actually build some muscle while losing fat. That is the holy grail, and that is how you look toned, not just smaller. So next up, let's talk about HIIT training, because this is a different kind of training to the cardio. So we're gonna go HIIT, but I don't want you to be doing a lot of this. Like we just need to be doing this maybe 1, maybe max 2 times per week. Here's what everyone gets wrong. They think more HIIT means more fat loss, but HIIT is a stress signal. And if you do it too much, you will spike cortisol, increase hunger, and actually slow down fat loss. But once or twice per week, it can actually increase growth hormone by adding up to 450%. Growth hormone is your fat burning, anti-aging hormone. People pay thousands to inject it. You can get it for free by just doing 20-second sprints. My HIIT of choice is horse riding or club cycle, and trust me, the type of riding that I do is not just sitting there. I leave my ride sweaty, sometimes a little bit shaky, depending on how hard I pushed it and how hot it is outside. So now movement is sorted, but here's the thing, you can walk 10,000 steps a day and still not lose weight if your meals are spiking insulin 6 times a day, which brings me to the most important part of this entire framework. So this is going to be insulin is your key fat storage hormone. Everything we do comes back to this one hormone. Every time you eat, your body releases insulin, and insulin's job is to take glucose from your bloodstream and store it somewhere. Firstly, it goes to your liver and muscles for energy, but once those are full, it goes straight into your fat cells. This is very important to remember. And this is highly dependent on the type of food that you eat. Not all food will do this. Here's the problem. If you're eating breakfast at 7 a.m., snacking at 10, lunch at 12, snack at 3, dinner at 6, then dessert at 8, your insulin is spiking 6, 7, maybe 8 times per day. And 6 to 8 meals will leave your insulin high. It's going to take about 2 or more hours for your insulin to start to come back down again, depending on what you've eaten and how insulin resistant you are. Which means if after you just start eating in the morning, your body is not going to be in fat burning mode throughout the day. It is always in storage mode. This happens until you finally get to sleep. And for women over 30, especially if you're dealing with a desk job or perimenopause or PCOS, your cells can become insulin resistant. And that means that you need more insulin to do the same job. So you are producing more insulin, thus storing more fat at the same time, all while feeling hungrier. This is why calorie counting doesn't work for everyone. You can still be in a calorie deficit and still not lose weight because your insulin is keeping you locked in storage mode. So how do we fix this? A 2-week insulin reset. And I actually have one of these linked below if you want it. So weeks 1 to 2, we're going to remove the insulin triggers. So this is sugar, carbs. We're going to go no seed oils and no ultra processed foods, UPFs. So this is things like your bread, pasta, cereal. This is your canola, soybean, vegetable oil. I also would avoid snacking in between meals. And I know you're probably thinking, oh my God, what the hell can I eat? What I want you to be eating instead of all of this is fatty meat, healthy fats, non-starchy vegetables. Berries are great, and higher fiber fruits are amazing as well. So this is where we're going to lower your carb intake, but increase your fats and your proteins. We are teaching your body to burn fat for fuel instead of constantly burning sugar instead. In my plan, I take a strategic approach to lowering these insulin triggers while increasing your fats and proteins, because believe me, you don't want to do this overnight. Week 2 is optional deeper adaptation. So you can go below 100 grams of carbs in that week if you want to. This is going to be very helpful, especially if you're dealing with insulin resistance or have a lot of weight to lose. You can drop carbs even lower. You can go to under 50 grams a day. That's more of the keto kind of area. But for week 2, I wouldn't recommend going under 100 grams until your body has adapted to a new fuel source. I personally went almost carnivore during this phase after I spent a month adapting to low carb. Key there, a month it took me. Once my body flipped the metabolic switch, the fat melted and it stayed off. Okay, so now we have lowered insulin by removing the foods that spike it, but here's something that most people completely ignore, and it has to do with when you eat, not just what you eat. So for my next trick, we're going to talk about fasting. And I don't mean starving yourself, I mean strategic eating windows that give your body time to actually burn fat. So here's the science. Your body naturally enters fat burning mode about 12 hours into a fast. That's when your glycogen stored sugar is depleted and your body starts pulling from fat stores. But most people start eating around 7 a.m. And when that happens, what they're just doing is shutting off fat burning as soon as they wake up. And this means that the average person, even if they're going 14 hours instead of 12, that means that they probably only get about 2 to 3 hours of fat burning overnight. And that's not really enough for this goal of losing 10 kilos as soon as possible. So weeks 1 to 2, we're going to do a 14-10. That's giving you about like 2 hours in your fat burning window. So for example, you could stop eating at like 8 p.m. and then just don't eat again until 10 a.m. the next day. If you want to eat breakfast earlier, just stop eating earlier. Weeks 3 to 4, we can do a 16-8. So this is just going to be stop eating at 8 p.m. and then starting again 12 p.m. the next day. Weeks 5 onwards, if you're feeling very adventurous, you can try OMAD. 18-6 is a bit easier. I personally will do about 18-6 when I'm in a cut. So this is going to be your 1 meal a day or your 2 meals a day. I call it a brunch and a dinner. So for example, you could eat between 12 and 6 p.m. and then just fast the rest of the time. So why does this work? Insulin is going to be dropping hour by hour during the fast. And after your 16 hours, your autophagy also kicks in. After 24 hours, your growth hormone spikes up by 2,000%. Autophagy is your body's cleanup crew. Think of this like Marie Kondo, going through your cells and getting rid of anything damaged or expired. This is why fasting is so good for anti-aging and metabolism. Now, this is something that is extremely important that I don't want to just brush over. Women need to fast with their cycle. Unfortunately, you can't fast the same way every day. Your hormones just won't let you. In your follicular phase, you can push for longer fasts, so try 18, 6, or 24 hours. In your ovulation phase, keep it moderate, maybe 14-10 or 16-8 max. In your luteal or your PMS phase, short fasts and no more than 12 to 14 hours. Your body needs more glucose when progesterone is high, and if you push for long fasts during that PMS phase, you can feel shaky and irritable and ravenous. So listen to that signal. Okay, so we've got movement, we've got insulin control, we've got strategic fasting, but none of this works unless you're eating one of the core macronutrients that changes everything. So I want you to follow this protein protocol. So this might sound simple, but this is the piece that I think especially women are just getting wrong. And it's because for years, dieting has made us try to adapt to eating less of everything, including protein. Protein does 4 critical things. It keeps you full by reducing your hunger hormone, ghrelin, by about 25%, studies have shown. It also stabilizes blood sugar, which means it's preventing insulin spikes. It also preserves muscle mass, and it signals to your body to keep your muscle even during a cut, and it boosts metabolism. I can't be held accountable for how shitty my writing gets the lower down I go, but this uses 30% of your calories just digesting. Studies have shown that people who increase protein intake from 15% to 30% of their diet ate 441 fewer calories per day without even trying. They just weren't hungry. And this is huge for intuitive eating. So your protein protocol, I want you to split this throughout the day because you're not going to be able to eat this much protein all in one go. So for your breakfast, I want you to be getting 20 to 30 grams of protein. And that's important. That is just whenever you break your fast. That's not like 8 a.m. That could be 2 p.m. if that's when you break your fast. Then what we want to do is for every meal after that, we want to be getting 30 to 40 grams. Or you could simply just aim for 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilo of ideal body weight, because some people aren't going to be eating enough meals in a day to get like this per meal amount, especially if you're just doing 2 meals a day like I do. And the best ways to get your protein is going to be things like eggs, fatty meats, also fatty fish. I should notice here is grass-fed is definitely going to be better in terms of meats. We're also going to put chicken because that's not a fatty meat, that's actually a lean meat. However, with chicken, I want you to be eating the thighs, not the breast, because you need the fat. You can also do bone broth or add collagen to your drinks. Personally, I think collagen's pretty great in a coffee. And with all of this protein that I've just written up, I want you to focus on building your meals all the same way throughout the day. So what we're going to be doing is every meal has to have protein first, then fats, and I'm going to put and ferments because those are really important for the gut. And then we're going to put plus strategic carbs because these are going to make your insulin spike more, and we don't want too many of these getting in the way and bumping up our calories. So maybe only include these with dinner, and maybe only include 1 sweet potato and some fruit. So for example, with lunch, we could have a grilled salmon, which is protein and fats, with a large salad, including some ferments, lots of fiber, with half of an avocado, which is a mix of fats and carbs, and then maybe a small sweet potato if you're training that day. Your example for dinner, maybe a ribeye steak, that's protein and fats, roasted broccoli and butter, that's fiber and healthy fats. You can add some ferments to that as well, such as a side of sauerkraut. And then for your strategic carbs with dinner, some berries and some cream for dessert, which is also fats. By putting the berries with the cream, you are dulling the glucose impact of that food. So notice how we are not counting calories here. We are just building meals that naturally keep you feeling satisfied and keep you in fat burning mode by keeping the carbs lower. Okay, so we have covered the big four. We've got movement, insulin, fasting, and protein, but there are a few non-negotiables that can make or break your results. So these are going to be the things that seem small, but will absolutely destroy your progress if you skip on them. Firstly, I want you sleeping 7 to 8 hours. And I know that is going to be really hard, especially what season of life you're in, but I just want you to understand the impact that a lack of sleep is going to have. So studies show that people who sleep 5.5 hours will lose more muscle and less fat than those who sleep 8.5 hours, even on the exact same diet. When you don't sleep, cortisol stays high, growth hormone drops, and your body prioritizes survival over fat loss. So the fix to this is going to be sleep at the same time every night, no screen, 60 to 90 minutes before bed. I know that's really hard. I find it hard too. Also keep your room cool. 16 to 19 degrees is perfect. And then we're going to want morning sunlight within 30 minutes of waking to just kickstart that circadian rhythm. The next non-negotiable is going to be no eating within 3 hours of sleep. So after sunset, your insulin sensitivity drops by about 30 to 50%. So eating at 9 p.m. will spike your blood sugar way higher than eating the same meal at 6 p.m. Plus, when you eat late, you shut off growth hormone, your liver can't detox, and you wake up feeling foggy and hungry. There's also melatonin to think about, and melatonin cannot rise while insulin is high. And if you're eating, then insulin is going to be raised to some degree, which means it's going to take another 2 hours or more for your insulin to come back down again before melatonin can actually rise. Just close the kitchen 3 hours before bed. This creates a natural runway into fat burning overnight. Next up is electrolytes. So electrolytes are going to prevent you from getting that awful keto flu. I was actually getting this recently and wondering why I was feeling shit. And then I realized, oh, wait, my electrolytes, I forgot to take them. When insulin drops, your kidneys excrete more waters and minerals, and this is why people feel like crap when they go low carb. I use a supplement for this one. It's from Bulk Nutrients. I'm not sponsored at all. With this, I want you to be getting sodium, potassium, and magnesium within your electrolytes. Don't just like salt things a lot more, because table salt is not containing. Unless you're having Celtic sea salt, I'll take that back. But normal iodized salt is not going to be giving you your electrolytes. And then I want you to walk after meals. Just a 10-minute walk after meals can lower your blood sugar by 20 to 25%. This is one of the lowest effort, highest leverage habits that you can have. And a simple 10-minute walk after eating will put that glucose that you've just eaten to good use as energy, sending it to your muscles instead of to your fat cells. And I also want you, I'm running out of space here, to track trends, not daily weight. I'm going to put this up here. The scale is going to fluctuate like half a kilo to a kilo day to day, just from water, hormones, and digestion. That is completely normal. So tracking weekly averages is going to be the way that you're going to see that progress over time, not get disheartened. Take your measurements like your waist, your hips every week, and take progress photos every couple of weeks. Focus on trends over time, not daily numbers. Because I can tell you, this has tanked my progress in the past. When I've jumped on the scales, I've gone up a kilo and I've thought, oh, what even is the point? I worked so hard and then I just slip off and I go back to my old habits. So that's the framework. We've got movement, insulin, fasting, protein, and the non-negotiables. But before I let you go, I want to cover off something really important. If you're wondering if this is even going to work after tons of failed diets, I used to ask myself the same question. I was 84 kilos, doing everything right. My body just refused to cooperate. I was eating low calorie, high carb meals. I was doing cardio every morning, and I was gaining weight anyway. But when I finally learned about insulin, fasting, and how women's bodies actually worked, I finally saw the changes that I needed. And now I've lost over 15 kilos and I've kept it off for over a year. I eat more now than I ever did before. I don't live at the gym either. And the biggest shift is that I just stopped fighting my body and I started working with it. I never thought that I would be the type of person who could so effortlessly lose weight and maintain my weight without putting everything that I'm eating on a scale before putting it in my mouth. So for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to write this out and feel free to just screenshot this. So weeks 1 to 2, we're going to reset insulin by eating higher fat, higher protein, lower carb diet. Daily, we're going to hit our step target. What did I say? 8 to 10K steps. And we're also daily going to hit protein targets. which is your 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight. We're also going to be doing 2 to 3 resistance training. You can absolutely do more than that. That's just your minimum. We're going to be doing fasting throughout, and we're going to be alternating between like 14 hours all the way up to you can do 36 hours. Depending that on your cycle, like I said before. And then what I said before about your non-negotiables, your sleep, stopping eating 3 hours before bed, your electrolytes, walking after meals. If you do these 5 things consistently for 6 to 12 weeks, you will drop weight. And more importantly, you'll understand how your body works so you can keep it off. And if you're ready to apply this properly, but with more structure and help from myself, then check out my metabolic method below. It's a 6-week metabolic plan that teaches your body to burn fat efficiently. You get the complete week by week cutting protocol, the science-backed education drip fed to you, so you actually understand what's happening in your body, plus lifetime maintenance guide that shows you how to enjoy pasta and rice and still maintain your results. If you're still in learning mode, start with my free masterclass linked below. I walk through the top fat loss mistakes you're probably making right now and how to fix them. These are practical science-backed strategies that actually work for women over 30. All of my free resources and guides and training are in the description below. Grab them, use them, share them with a friend who needs them. And if this helped, please like this video so more people like you can find it. Drop a comment telling me which part clicked for you, and subscribe if you want more metabolic health content just like this, because this is your pathway to finally losing that 10 kilos and keeping it all off. And it's not what the gym bros are going to tell you, because I've almost never heard a gym bro talk about insulin, for one. And two, while they do give out protein targets, you still have to weigh everything. And who wants to keep weighing the food for the rest of their life? I personally don't, and I've lost more weight by not weighing food and just following this simple plan, incorporating fasting, increasing my training, increasing my steps, lowering my carbs, increasing my protein and fats. I've seen more progress doing this than any other diet that I've spent so much money on. I've spent hundreds. So this is actually what's going to work. And if you want a bit more information on like protein, I just filmed a video that is all about how protein helps you lose weight, and you're going to want to check out that one next. Now, go take care of that beautiful body of yours. You've got this.